affectionate nerd. We're all nice here.
Yeah. This way just a tiny bit. Otherwise, you're not going to be in frame.
Yeah. You're like me and this expansive corner over here. And like, there you.
There you go. Yes, now we can see the whole purse.
Yes.
She'll be able to see you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Could you hand me my tablet, please, so I can pull up the outline? Thank you so much.
Yeah, same.
No, we were nerds before it was cool. I was going to say, before they even knew what nerd was.
Yeah.
We knew what nerd was.
Well, I'm just saying before they had the fancy name.
Before they actually embraced it.
Yes.
Please come on.
Why not?
This is it.
This is it. And that's not Askew. What I thought was dinosaurs is foxes.
It's foxes, but you know, they're very affectionate. They probably like dinosaurs in this universe.
I was sitting there looking at it. My first love was astronomy.
That's so cool.
You were ready. I was a member. Tell me about fairy stories.
It was merely an offhand, self-deprecating comment. It wasn't like any sort of statement on.
No. Often one of the kindest things I can say is, "You're such a nerd," and
that's beautiful.
Because that means I'm at home.
Yeah.
All right, so let me just pull up this outline.
There was something that happened to me at work several years ago, and I rattled something off, and my boss just stared at me and went, "It's pretty nerdy, Tanya." And I said, "We've met, right?"
You met me, right?
Yes.
And he just kind of like blinked at me for a second and then laughed.
I know that I'm nerd. I'm the nerd of, I was the only nerd in my department. Now I have another nerd, and we get along quite well. Thank you. I mean, I make alien eggs and face huggers and all that kind of business for Halloween. I mean,
That's so fun.
We're all nerds here.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Accept it, embrace it.
Okay, so we're all sorted, I think.
Yeah.
Just have to find our little outline. Did we make an outline?
We did not, but we did. Well, we have the outline that I started in 2019 when I first decided I wanted to do a Winona Earp panel someday.
So Tanya, normally I am happy to like wrangle, but you're gonna be like wrangler.
You're gonna be a wrangler.
And
Yay, Tanya.
but I'll get us started, and then you can like lead the conversation. How's that sound?
I'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes.
Great, sounds great. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last panel of the evening, but not the last adventure of the evening at TUSCon 51, right here in Tucson. And I'm delighted to be here. I'm Madam Askew, pretending to be American right now. And we are going to be talking about the joys of Winona Earp. And I am joined by my fantastic friends for the panel.
I am Charity, also known as Antihistamine. I'm here because, oh my God, Winona Earp! It's so good.
Yeah. My name is Tanya. I've been doing panels here for a few years, 8, I realized. And for the first time, I actually get to talk about Winona Earp at a con.
Yay!
Yes.
You get nerd points.
So I'm guessing, like, I know that you have not experienced Winona.
Yeah.
Are the rest of you familiar with it at all?
I've heard, but not
We have newbies.
Oh my goodness. We get to be your gateway into Winona Earp.
So, yeah, this is really exciting.
Is Winona Earp in purgatory?
Yes.
Winona Earp it's a sci-fi. It's a show that started on the Sci-Fi Channel. It's based on a comic book by a guy named Bo Smith. And the premise is that Winona is the great-great-granddaughter of the legendary lawman Wyatt Earp.
Yeah, that's what I gathered.
A curse back in the day. Now, like, everybody has a really nice, like, Wyatt Earp was a big damn hero and all that stuff. Well, Wyatt Earp got up to some stuff back in the day, and he got a curse laid on him. So that in each generation, there would be someone who, when they turned 27, will have to deal with the resurrected outlaws that people that he killed. And they're referred to like basically they're revenants.
Oh,
And the only way to send them back permanently is with his gun Peacemaker.
oh, shit. Away we go.
Damn right. So
That was pretty cool.
in here, we're going to be talking about all 4 seasons of Winona, plus the movie that came out in November called Winona Earp Vengeance on Tubi.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't know.
All 4 seasons of Winona are on Netflix right now. There are some fantastic characters, notably our favorite badass Winona
Mhm.
and her crew. It kind of follows a little bit of like that model where you have the chosen one, and then you have her crew of people, or Scooby Gang, and they're all gonna like try to work together to keep things from falling apart. Like, the interesting thing with Winona is she's somebody who, when she was a kid, her father had been the heir. And out on their homestead, they had like some like stuff in the ground to like be able to like keep the revenants off the land. Well, something happened one night and they got in.
Oh,
And they were dragging her father out, and she had his gun, and she tried to shoot basically the demons that had him, and she accidentally killed her dad.
oh.
Because of this, and because she could see that these weren't regular people, no one believed her.
Of
And of course, like, she's been through all this trauma. She ends up like ultimately like kind of a town pariah. Nobody likes her. And plus, like, she's acting out and she's just being like kind of ornery, and ends up in basically a group home at some point,
course.
and ends up being sent away. And like, the show opens and it's almost her 27th birthday, and she's on a bus going home to purgatory.
The tiny town that.
Yeah,
The name of the town Purgatory. Oh,
Yeah.
Father.
And it's in Canada.
which
Oh.
I somehow didn't realize for like 2.5 seasons.
You want this?
Netflix.
I'm going to have to harass Margie
Yeah.
because I don't have Netflix.
So yeah, do you
I'm
guys
working
want
my
to
way
chime
through
in
it.
and talk about some of our main characters that we have?
Absolutely. Charity, would you like to get us started with one of your favorite characters?
So one of my favorite characters is Winona is a badass. She's angry, she's mad, whatever, but her little sister is a ball of sunshine and joy and love, and oh, I love her so much.
Oh,
But-
Waverly.
Yeah.
Waverly is just so, and I love that because she's the exact opposite. So it's a sunshine grumpy trope, but it's sisters, which means they could slap each other and not feel bad about it because they're sisters, but they don't
Sisters are poor.
because they actually like each other.
Yeah, which is really seems kind of unique. There's a lot of shows that seem like they have siblings, and especially if they're sisters, they try to create a lot of drama, but that's not really the case with the Earp sisters.
They're a family that actually likes each other.
Yeah,
Which is
they get
super
along.
rare.
Hi, gorgeous.
Hello. Hello. Ready?
Sorry, I walked in front of you.
Oh, it's okay because you're just glorious. And you're here with your huckleberry preserves.
Yes, it's Doc Holliday's Huckleberry Preserve.
Nice.
Oh,
I like that.
No, but I love that observation because it is so often that shows will pit strong female characters against each other as though we can't be friends,
Right.
that women can only be rivals. Tell me a show is written by men without telling me a show is written by men. When in reality, this is the life.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
more the reality. And so the fact that they show this experience where Winona and her sister Waverly, like they're not always happy with each other. They don't
Right.
But they
they're,
don't fight constantly.
they're not rivals. They're not trying to tear each other down. They just have normal, like, I can't believe you did that. That was really dumb. I love you, but like try not to be dumb.
I love you, but you know that you know better.
Right?
Oh.
That's like sort of the level of the conflict that they sometimes have. Otherwise, it's like,
Well, I go and let myself die.
yeah, right.
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
there's these great moments too where like the shit is about to go down and Waverly in this one episode and Waverly's like, what do we do? And she's like, baby girl, we is the team. And then they're just like that they just go, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, you know, they do end up getting backup from probably, I don't remember the episode, probably like Doc, and I think Dolls was still around at that
Yeah.
point. So, but it was just like, oh, yes.
And Waverly is such a cool character because you're right, she's like so opposite of Winona, who is absolutely Winona is the badass who is like, people hate me, so I have leaned into it. I don't care, kind of gruff, and has built up this armor and is like very self-reliant and like super independent in that way that people who grew up in a lot of trauma can become.
And she's
You don't know
she's
anybody like that, do we?
No.
she's like messy, and I think like there's somewhere I heard the phrase whiskey soaked and reckless.
Yes, that's so perfect. But then you have Waverly, who is like she's easy to underestimate because she's so cheery and she's so like, she seems like she's very obsessed with her appearance and very light, and like she was a cheerleader and she's always so happy. How could she be like actually a scholar of dead languages and like very intelligent, very competent, and very, very important to the team. So I love that they have this wonderful sisterly relationship, and then there's also this dramatic tension of like, people are gonna underestimate Waverly, and also they kind of underestimate Winona because they're like, well, she's such a fuck up.
Yeah.
How could she be
She can't
anything good?
Save us because
Right.
she can't save herself.
Right.
Right.
But she does.
But she does.
That's how she saves herself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And also she's been saving herself for a long time. So it's like, kind of,
Yeah.
She has anger issues for good reason.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, did you have one like a character? you
Oh,
wanted to talk
gosh.
about?
I do. I mean, I love Officer Hutz.
Ah.
You know, honestly, I love so many of the characters, but she's a ginger, and I like that about her. And she's deeply confident and deeply, deeply capable. And like, of course, I don't have like a big law enforcement desire in my life. I'm not like one of those people who's like, if I see a man in uniform, I'm gonna, swoon. So it's not about that for me. It's more that Officer Hot is like, she's just that deeply competent and also very much like, okay, we need to do this thing. We need to save the town from demons, I guess. But could we do this in a way where we like actually plan? Like maybe we think about the logistics. Like maybe we have some safety precautions. Like maybe we take care of each other. Like maybe, Winona, you don't do it by yourself and go into danger without a plan and then die. Like
Yeah.
she's a real like, yes, we've got to do this thing, but also I'm going to make sure we have a plan.
She's the logistics person. Man.
She really is.
Yeah.
And she is the person who is like, she's very, very level headed. She's like, kind of like, she's always kind of on an even keel.
Yeah, she never flutters.
She never really flutters, but then it's like, when people are just trying to like, ride in with no plan, sometimes she just loses it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like she's not wrong either.
Yeah.
Because they're being ridiculous.
Yeah. It's great.
But also no one has a right to look that hot with a French braid.
Right?
Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
I mean, I'm just like, stop
Perfect
it.
French braids.
Stop
Like-
it with that French braid. I cannot have that kind of temptation from a fellow ginger.
Well, like the first time we meet her, I think is after Waverly's boyfriend has been found dead somewhere.
Mhm.
And so Officer Hot goes into the bar where Waverly works to talk to her, and they kind of see each other and like watching it, and you're just kind of like, is this the vibe I think it is? Because she sees Waverly and she's just like, oh, because she is very confident, she's very competent, but at the same time, she just sees Waverly and is like, ooh, oh my God, she's so pretty.
Doesn't she like sort of stumble too?
She does.
She does.
She kind of
And then she stutters.
Yeah. So
She never
stutters a little
stutters.
bit. And
she's
even
Twitter pated.
it's so
Absolutely.
it's very
So
sweet.
Yeah. And it's like a wonderful Sapphic gay moment in this show. And I know that was the moment where I was like, oh, okay then. I see.
Not just demon hunting.
It's
Let's
also gonna be gay. Like count me in.
Yeah, I once saw someone on, I think it was Twitter, describe Winona Earp as like Buffy's queer older sister.
Yeah. Oh, I
Okay,
just
fair.
love that so much.
Yes.
And
And
like
it's
she's definitely like Buffy's queer older sister in that she didn't get the like coddling of having a watcher train her, right? She like had to just
Do
do it.
She had to
Yeah.
learn it on her own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not like she had a secret library in the basement.
No.
Like
Yeah.
being thrown into the pool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So
And like, there is another character who's around, I think, for at least 2 seasons. Because you find out that there is a government agency called the Black Badge Division. And they basically kind of keep track of supernatural occurrences and stuff in the United States. And Agent Dawes gets sent to purgatory. And him and Winona kind of like butt heads a little bit at first, and then they're talking. Like my favorite, the scene in the show that made me decide that I loved it was they're talking to each other, and Winona is used to nobody believing her. And when he starts talking to her about why he's in purgatory, and he talks about demonic activity, et cetera, and he knows her history. And he says something about it, and she has this moment where she's just kind of like, wait a minute, you believe me? And you see this look on her face like, holy shit,
I'm not crazy.
I'm really not crazy.
Yes.
Finally, someone
I'm not
believes
crazy.
me. And it was just beautiful.
it's a really touching moment, honestly.
Yeah, and Dolls, there are various points where between the two of it almost feels like some ridiculous buddy cop thing
Yeah.
because he's very serious and by the book, and she's just like, woo, let's go.
She was thrown into the pool, so.
Yeah,
There's that great
Seat of my
scene
pants.
where they're like, they have to go see if they can find the demons at like a rave. And he's like, okay, try and like be natural. Keep it low, DL, do not. And she just goes into the rave and she just shoots her gun in the air and she's like, hey, demons. And he's like,
What's up?
Oh.
He's like,
love
what happened to like
the plan.
being subtle and like, being
that. That was your plan.
such a great.
Yeah.
No, that might have been her line actually.
Oh, okay, yeah, it was.
And I know
I
there's-
never saw it, and I don't know, but
there's another time she does something similar where she's like, yo, crazy chick with a gun.
oh, in the
Yes.
bar.
So good. So good. Yeah.
And of course, we would be remiss if we did not discuss Mr. Doc Holliday.
We must talk about Doc.
Mr. Doc Holliday is,
And it is that Doc Holliday.
Yes.
but he is a revenant.
Sort of.
Kind of.
I was about to say.
Kind of.
Kind
But
of,
not that, but not
really.
demony. But he's definitely not of the townsfolk.
No.
He spent the last 150 years at the bottom of a well near the Earp, like on I think on the Earp homestead somewhere,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
out
back
at the,
40.
like out at the
How the
excerpts.
heck did he get stuck down there?
He's
A witch,
He's
That beggars.
Why does that not surprise me?
an evil witch.
He made poor life choices, which
Yes.
is absolutely
Doc Holliday.
Right.
Doc Holliday.
Doc
We
Holliday,
had
right
a
then and
long
there.
time to think
You didn't
about
read
it.
anything. in
He
your
really
history.
did.
That's
He had a long time to sit and think about what he did.
and also to
That's the
think about
longest time out
vengeance
there.
and all
Yes.
sorts of things. He didn't have therapy down in that well.
No.
He did
No,
not.
he just had
Yeah.
the well.
He just had to spiral all by his own self.
And a lot of toxic masculinity that I
Yeah.
don't think he really worked through while he was in that well.
No.
No, not with that mustache.
That mustache is so
That
good.
mustache is good.
So good.
Right now, we just the 6 of us.
Right.
We're
He's
good.
so good. But like he is a fantastic character. And one of the things I love about Doc Holliday and how he's portrayed in this show is that even though he's steeped in the sort of like history and the romance of this persona and the way it's presented in like a lot of old Western films and Western novels and like Tombstone, Val Kilmer, all of that is like sort of wrapped around him as a little like miasma of romance.
Mhm.
The way he is portrayed in this show made me like the character again, like deeply. I'd sort of gotten sort of like, oh yeah, Doc Holliday.
Oh, great. The
Yeah.
little whore boy. That's great. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I mean, is it Val Kilmer chewing the scenery delightfully? Okay, I really enjoy that, but otherwise, I'm like, seen it, done it, you know. And then we get this Doc Holliday. I'm like, no, wait a minute.
Tim Rosen, the actor
So
who plays
good.
him, is just amazing.
And the character is a fully fleshed out character. It's not just pretty boy who has a gun.
Right.
Which
No,
It actually has substance.
Yeah,
real actual depth to the character.
Yeah.
he.
Backstories that don't make it into most other things.
So how did he get out of the well?
I actually can't remember how he got out.
So
I think part of it was like there's kind of like a tunnel, some kind of offshoot of the well, and he was down in there.
Yeah.
And Winona ended up figuring out where Peacemaker was. It gotten tossed down the well.
Oh.
So she climbs down into the well, she finds the gun, and then doesn't pull the rope or the ladder back up.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
And eventually he comes out and he's like, sweet.
yeah. And then shenanigans ensue.
Yeah.
Many
Yeah.
shenanigans.
So many. We almost didn't get a fourth season, so that was very exciting when we got that. The show was like sort of a slow burn with audiences.
Yeah.
So lots of people haven't heard about it, but I think those of us who have got to see it and watch it, like generally speaking, are rabid fans.
Yeah, the Earpers are quite the force.
Yeah.
There was like some weird financial and contractual stuff with the IDW companies. IDW is a comic book publisher, and then they have like this media arm.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a bunch of weird shit with like contractual and money between them and Sci-Fi Channel. And well, like Earpers, like there was this whole thing of like polite no chill, which was like a thing I think that was like based around like Hot's character,
Yes.
her attitude.
Oh my God, that's a perfect
So, like,
description.
Earpers
Polite
were they were
neutral.
like organizing like, okay, at this time on this day, everybody should like go on these different social media channels, like mention the show, use this hashtag, like bring Winona home. People raised money and bought billboards in Times Square,
Yeah.
and eventually we finally got a season 4.
And it was so good.
There really was supposed to be a season 5, but like then COVID happened,
Oh, well.
and
That killed a lot of nice projects.
then
But we got vengeance eventually, so.
yeah, and like Emily Andress is a woman who's the showrunner for Winona Earp, and she also created Lost Girl.
Oh
if
gosh.
you're familiar with that, which is another really great,
It's so
like,
good.
really great show. But
It's on the
she had kind of talked about how like when they were making season 4, she didn't know if they'd get to do season 5. So she wanted to end it in a way that would kind of tie things up with a bow, but also tie some things up, but leave it open to have more stories.
I was gonna say, have a tag there where they
Yeah.
can actually do something.
So like I really do think that show has like the best wedding I've ever seen on TV.
Yes.
Such a great wedding.
Because like spoiler, Waverly and Nicole get married.
Who got married?
Waverly
Waverly,
and
the little
Nicole.
sister, and the hottie cop
Because
lady.
there's a beautiful
Really? I
because
was
like
wondering.
because it turns out they just kind of keep flirting with each other. And Waverly, like, she's never felt this way about a woman before, as far as we know. Because she had like this crappy, boring boyfriend.
So boring.
He was such a Chad.
Mm.
On every level, he was a Chad. He was boring, and he was beige.
I think his name
He was
actually was
Robert-
Chad.
I was gonna say,
it
wasn't
was,
his
but he
name
was
Chad?
His name was Chad, and he was a Chad, and it just solidified that name
Well,
to me.
And I think one of the things about this boyfriend that's the most damning about him is that he was sleeping with this woman in her room, and he did not know that she was smart, that she spoke and read multiple languages, and that she had all these skills.
He didn't
Because he
care.
was too centered around himself and his
Well, she's so pretty. Pretty people
that
can't be
has-
smart.
That has
Oh,
never
right,
happened
yeah.
before in history.
Right, never.
Oh, heavens, never. Nobody pretty can be smart.
Yeah.
A number of times.
But
You
then
know
we've
that
got
is-
like Officer Hot, who like immediately is like, well, of course, Waverly is not only beautiful but smart and competent. And
And
it's
look
like,
at the books on her bookshelf. They're in
It is.
17 languages.
And it's so
Yeah.
sweet when he's like, okay, we like there is the trope called bury your gays. And it's basically like there can be a queer character in a property but like they're not allowed, they seemingly are not allowed to have a happy ending. They will either just die horribly, they'll die tragically saving someone else. And in Lost Girl, there is a character that gets killed off. And Emily Andress got a lot of shit for that.
A romantic partner. got
And
killed
she
off.
and she has said, she apologized for it. And she said, that's why Nicole Hott got a bulletproof vest.
oh,
Name another science fiction, fantasy, undead show where they actually have body armor when going against things with bullets.
Right.
You can't.
And
You don't.
the part where they really made it very, very plain about how she feels about Waverly is she's been shot, she's in the hospital, and somebody's asking her, like, what's the last thing you remember? And she just stares off and she's like, Waverly waving at me from the front porch.
and it's like, it's so sweet. It's just like, it's a lovely romance, and they're
Yeah.
wonderful characters.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about all this great stuff and all these like hijinks and stuff, but this show gets pretty gnarly, gets pretty graphic. Jack the Ripper shows up.
Oh, yeah.
And
It
that's
is
like
gruesome
that
in a lot of
is a
places.
gruesome two-parter.
Oh, yeah.
And also, like, it deals with really intense topics outside of just
Right.
like the like horror element of like dealing with revenants and like
Because
evil witches.
some of the people that Wyatt put down were really terrible people. And then you end up learning that a couple of the people Wyatt put down were really just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it's very interesting where they kind of go back. Some of the little moments with Doc are whenever he starts hearing the way that he and particularly Wyatt have been mythologized over the years.
Oh, bother.
And he's just like, well, that's bullshit.
That's not what
Didn't
happened.
you watch
That's not
Tombstone in
what
one of the episodes?
He might have.
I think like, it just finished off. And he's like, well, that had nothing to do with anything that really happened. And it's just like, it's a background comment because like the sisters are saying something. So, I had nothing to do with it. What are we talking about, ladies?
Yeah.
Like,
And
okay. Like,
Very
live your own
him,
height.
very him, right? Like,
Yeah.
absolutely his attitude.
And like there's some pretty
So I'm
intense stuff that
understanding that
happens.
Doc Holliday had to be brought into the show because there's so much mythologized about the actual Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp. That you had to have somebody saying, yeah, that's not what happened.
Yeah, I mean that could be.
It could be,
Could
but
very
it's
easily
certainly-
be, because when you go to the real places, they will tell you exactly what happened, but not the romanticized version, the way that history truly was portrayed.
Yep.
In fact, there was a couple things on the History Channel about that they actually broke it down to what actually happened at the OK Corral.
because it's not just the fanfic.
Yeah.
There was a history.
Yes.
So watching a movie based on fanfic, essentially, oh, so beautiful.
Well, and there's some,
But it's not true.
As the character watching a fanfic about his own life, beautiful.
yeah, and we don't want to like get too into the historical realities or how
No,
how the history is presented because that's a whole other
no,
panel.
we want the fantasy aspect.
And also
Monsters.
like there's some contention about what actually happened.
Yeah.
But no hysterical figure is ever presented in their fullness of humanity. There's always some like perspective and some like
Who's writing it?
massaging.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think Doc Holliday was brought in as a character to the show to like, debunk the myths about his character. I just think that the myths are like part of what creates the ambience of the character. I think he was brought on because they needed that rooting in like, how do we connect to when this all started?
Yeah, I think that's probably it, really.
Yeah,
Because otherwise it's like just kind of like
Just
this.
some random dude.
Yeah.
And then, like, honestly, one of the beautiful things about Doc Holliday in this is that not only does he sort of root them, connects them with what happened and why things are the way they are, but I don't know if they intended him to take off quite as he was as a character. It felt a little bit like he probably lasted a season or part of a season, and then he was so fucking brilliant.
Then they kept
They
it.
kept-
Yeah, the character,
It was the Castiel treatment.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was absolutely like the Castiel treatment.
SEL, like Spike.
Yes,
Yeah.
because
We're
the
supposed to be
actor
3
is
episodes.
so
Love
good.
her so much. They can't be.
Yeah, no, honestly, the guy, this is the actor.
Tim Rosen.
Thank you, Tim Rosen, who plays Doc Holliday, just embodies him brilliantly.
And he really is like the biggest erper of us all.
Yeah, yeah, he's
And-
lovely.
It was really fun finding out that they got the movie. Tubi is just like, it's on the internet. It's a streaming website. It's free, which is nice. And basically, they contacted Emily Anderson. We're kind of like, hey, want to write a movie? And she was like, hell yeah! And like, you want to work on some Winona Earp with us? And they basically gave her like no limits. Do whatever you want.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so they wrote, but the only thing they asked is that she make a story that would be accessible to people who haven't watched 4 seasons of the show.
Yeah.
Like something that would be accessible, but also still make fans happy.
Yeah.
It is so good. And it's just so good to see everyone back.
Oh my gosh,
Our
right?
family. Our family's together.
It
Yeah.
did feel a little bit like, I don't want to give away like spoilers or not too much. But like, there's a quality to the film where it really does feel a little, and part of the story kind of takes us back to purgatory. So it feels like, hey, not only do you get this, but we are having a little reunion. The show, the cast, and the fans.
It's like
Kind of
when,
like Serenity and Firefly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like when they did the Carney Fisher movie.
Yes. Oh, very much. Yeah.
That's so good.
There's the theme song of the show. I will play a little bit of it because I love it so much. It's like the theme song of the show is like, it has this great line. It's like, I told that devil to take you back. And at the opening of the Purgatory special, Winona is just like strutting through a casino in this slinky dress,
Oh my gosh.
just oozing confidence and sass, and they're playing that song, and it's like, ah!
It's so good. And this happens in the first few minutes. So.
Like, this is so, yeah.
It's a wonderful theme song. It's
I'm gonna stop it so
absolutely.
you don't get a copyright strike.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
the
a banger.
vibe.
It's a banger. And like, what's really fun about that moment is that ostensibly they're at a casino outside of Tombstone, Arizona, in this scene. And I was just like, so I had this moment. I was, well, right. I'm like, okay, I'm watching this. I'm like, I've been to Tombstone a lot.
Oh no, wait! I think I think it's supposed to be in New Mexico,
Is it? I thought it was in
but they
Arizona.
had like some weird like Wyatt Earp or Doc Holliday themed machines back in
Oh
the
my God.
storage area, and
Okay.
Doc just got so pissed.
Yeah. Oh man, I thought
Okay.
it was in Tombstone. I was like, I know we don't have. Well, I don't think. Did they open a casino while we were in the pandemic? And I had to go and Google it, and I was like, no, this is just more fantasy, and that's fine. But maybe it was New Mexico. That would make more
Yeah.
sense.
But as someone who used to go to casinos all the time to hold people's wallets so they didn't overspend, there are Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp casino slot games. They're penny machines.
Funny.
And so when I saw like that part of it, I was like, wow, those are ancient. Have they reworked them yet? Oh no, this is not reality. But I've seen them. I
Yeah.
played them. I lost miserably. I lost all of Jamie's $10 he gave me.
Aw. Aw.
All of it.
Yeah, but no, I love this. I love this like connection to like, here's the history. We're not a historical thing, but also we acknowledge it. And Doc Holliday is a wonderful like pathway for doing that, and just like a fantastic character.
Yeah, and it's also really fun because, of course, when he first climbs out of the well, he's still, I mean, he's basically like, he's Doc Holliday. He is this like gentleman, like, I say like gentleman, cowboy type figure.
Poker player.
And
he certainly got a genteel charm.
And over the course of the season, he actually like really evolves as a character, and just also in the way that he interacts with women and all that, and this in general, and like he kind of like he has like emotions and everything, and like because later on they introduce a character named Jeremy, who is a gay man who works in the research division of like the Black Badge people, and Jeremy's very sweet and very funny. He's like kind of like right there with Waverly on a wavelength. They're like always on the same, pretty much on the same wavelength a lot. They're both very upbeat, peppy, super smart,
and shiny.
sparkles and shiny. It's so cute. And there's some stuff that happens where they end up like people end up kind of in different places, and like basically like kind of like you guys go here or whatever. Doc and Jeremy are often doing stuff, and he's like, it's kind of like they're in dire straits and they think that they're going to die, and Jeremy's talking about how much he cares about Doc, and Doc is just kind of like, well, you know, and he's like reciprocates that care to him, and it's just so sweet.
It's so lovely. No, I think that one of the cool things about the show, right, is that there is so much character growth for literally every character, even side characters.
Yeah,
improve and grow and like stretch. And the town,
like Mercedes. There's a character named Mercedes who she went to high school with Winona, and she was like the meanest of the mean girls. And she actually like kind of evolves to be like, well, not a full like member of the Scoobies, so to speak. She's an ally.
She's not actively trying to harm them.
Okay,
Yeah.
That works.
Well, if you can't get an apology, being decent later is okay.
Yeah. It's also fun. There is, I don't know, how do you all feel about the trope in your fiction where they get the female main character pregnant?
I hate pregnancy tropes. I will DNF any media that has an unaffected pregnancy trope. It pisses me off to
I
an
hate it.
nth degree.
Why does the person have to
Why
be
does she have to have
pregnant?
babies?
Why?
She's
That
still a
makes no
person.
sense.
Well, because the plot is that one of the twins gets kidnapped at birth.
Oh,
Okay, and then it was my first book, and I haven't published it, okay?
Okay.
And also,
because we'd have to like not like.
But was it warned?
but also sometimes an actor is pregnant.
Yeah.
And they
you-
can't hide it behind.
And you
Pillows.
need to figure out a way to make that work in the show.
And that's what they did with Winona Earp.
oh, for crying out loud.
But here's the thing.
I can.
But here's the thing. The main reason I hate that trope is because 9 times out of 10, they instantly decide like the woman is become pregnant, so now she is she is this like fragile creature
Oh God.
who must never do a single thing. She can't do like when they
She
had
has no
they had
brains.
somebody
Now that she's pregnant, she has no
She's
brains.
a mess.
right. Well, Melanie Scrofano, the actress who plays Winona, was pregnant, and they ended up having to work it into the show. Like that's had some weird thing happen where time moved differently for some reason, and like basically she regained consciousness, and she was like obviously pregnant at this point, and she's like, what?
Oh.
And it was really handled very well because you've got somebody who has like this unexpected pregnancy, and she figures out who the father is, and the guy is like, well, I'm all in. It's okay.
Did he run off, or did he
No.
actually own up?
No,
cool.
it's quite beautiful
Mm, that
actually.
That works. It's nice.
And they do the thing where they try to say everybody's sitting around planning, planning how they're going to do whatever it is they got to do, take down whoever they got to take down. And Winona's like, and I'll do this. And everybody's like, well, and she's like, I am just pregnant. I'm not dead.
There you go.
She has some declaration along those lines that just sets everybody back, and they're like, "Oh, okay."
You
It's
do not
so
lose your
great.
skills because you gained
Right.
the parasite. You're fine.
Exactly.
And like she does all the things, and she very, very pregnantly does all
Yeah.
the things,
Oh, yeah.
and kicks a lot of ass, and it's absolutely delightful.
That's good because pregnant women aren't helpless.
Exactly.
Right?
I think
Oh,
that's what she said. I'm pregnant. I'm not helpless.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just great.
It was a
Okay,
wonderful
so the
moment.
pregnancy in my story doesn't take place in the book. It's previously,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the
So
lady
that's not a
thinks,
pregnancy trope, then you're
she
fine.
thinks that one of her babies died, but was actually kidnapping.
See, but that's not a pregnancy trope.
Yeah.
That is a lost child trope.
Okay.
Totally different.
Okay.
Pregnancy tropes is I'm a badass, I'm cool, I can do all the things. I'm pregnant, I'm a fragile flower who's made of glass and I will die. I'm gonna sit in the cabinet and not do anything for the next 3 books in the series.
I must retire to my confinement.
No!
Like someone, like someone from the Regency era or some shit.
I must spend my time picking out nursery paint chips. My life is
3 seconds.
my life is only crochet and booties
I
now.
have been pregnant and I did everything I always did.
Yeah,
Right.
I've not been pregnant,
Okay.
and I've always done the things I always do.
Well, that's
that works out well for both of you. But also, Diana, obviously, we're always going to love you and your books no matter what. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
that's just
I will
the
tell you,
rules.
if you have a pregnancy trope, I will call you on the phone and say,
stop
"What
it.
the actual fuck?"
No, that's.
I will.
Because I will give you my honest feedback.
But also, I think that's the point when we go, Diana, blink twice if you've been abducted.
If you need help, this is the signal. Okay?
So, but to return to Winona and this wonderful show, like it really is just a gem of a show. It has some of those wonderful things that I miss from things like Buffy, where even though you're dealing with dire things, there's still this wonderful leavening of humor and found family and just this
It's still going to jobs.
right and,
Yeah,
and a
Like
certain
you have to go to
irreverence.
work
You
to
don't pay
pay
the
to
rent.
get money to
Yeah.
buy the bullets for the gun to kill the revenants.
Or
It's
ju-
brilliant.
or just to buy dinner because you had a rough day and you killed a lot of revenants and now you need ice cream.
Exactly.
If
I
I
don't
had to kill revenants, I would need ice cream.
right.
I would definitely need some ice cream.
I would
I
post
just want ice cream when I've had a bad day, but revenants bad days.
right. If I've
Yeah.
been killing demons,
Yeah,
I
I
would
would
definitely
need
want ice
syrup
cream.
on it.
I would
Right.
want Godiva ice cream or something. Haagen-Dazs.
Oh,
Like
my
another really great example of the humor. There is an episode where like they have to get something out of a vault,
Okay.
and there's somebody who they want to like there's dynamite, there's explosives involved, but there's all these guards. Doc and Dolls are like, oh, well, we've got to make this plan, and how are we going to get past them? And you take this one. Winona, they look over, and she's just kind of like adjusting her shirt. She does this thing, it's a little bit of this, and then what are you doing? And they're like, what are you doing? And she's like, I have boobs.
so great.
And she does, just like walks up. It's like, oh, hi.
Nice.
My eyes definitely aren't up here.
And the two guys just do one of these like at each other, and then they're like, oh, kind of like, oh my god, that works.
It's funny because in previous episodes, it had worked on them in different situations.
Yeah.
I never noticed it.
Yeah, that is a delightful moment.
I have
Yeah.
No, the show
But
is
they're like, wait. But they never realize that they've also been the. No,
Right.
I'm paying.
She hasn't done that to us.
Yeah.
no, not every day. But no, these are the wonderful moments of like humor that really make the show kind of elevate it into this kind of magical category.
Yeah.
Because it's got a really wonderful balance. I think you need that to deal with a show or for a show that's going to deal with such heavy topics.
Right. And like it gets, because I mean, yeah, there's these, like you said, like Winona has to come when she's back in purgatory, she's dealing with all the stuff from her past. And of course, to try to investigate some of the stuff happening around the town, she ends up having to talk to people that she either maybe they just didn't like her on just because, or she actually did some shit to them, and now she has to like apologize. So it's
To remain unapologetically her.
exactly.
Which is what's nice about her.
Yes.
It's very much a, yeah, I was kind of awful, whatever. So can we get this thing done?
Right.
Yeah, I'm better now. Let's go.
Right?
And like you learn a lot more of her history, like between like like some of the stuff that happened between her getting like hauled off somewhere and her coming back to purgatory. Like you see her time like at this like terrible little group home in Vengeance. You kind of see some of her history, what makes her her.
Yeah.
And it's really nice because you get to see like really she's been the one taking care of herself. And that's kind of something that she has trouble with in relationships. It's like, well, I'm always the one taking care of me. But she tries to run away when she starts to get really close to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such good character development because like by the end of like she's been on this journey for a long time, and when she resolves some of this other stuff, it's like, well, alrighty, I guess I'll be a grown-up and have a grown-up job now. But I'm still gonna kill demons and shit.
I really need buddy cop, Officer Hot on Winona. I need it
for sure.
I need it so much. It's so great.
Well, I mean, now she's sheriff.
That's right. Sheriff Hot.
And I love that they named the character Hot.
Yeah.
Spelled
And she is.
H-A-U-G-H-T.
Yes, but still.
Yes.
Hot. And she is.
She
So
is.
it fits.
And like the show has queer characters, but it's not about being queer, and it's not about like the experience of queer people being subjugated or hated or any of that. It's just like, yes, we have queer people, and they're gonna do this stuff.
They
And
exist.
They exist.
They just have to be queer. That's just- But
they're not
the
revenants.
story is this.
Sometimes they'll enjoy their staircase.
That's correct.
There is an episode where there is an extended love scene on a staircase.
It's delightful.
Yes.
Thank you, Emily Andrews. That was very kind. But no,
That was fan service.
I love that because so often, as soon as you have any kind of character that's marginalized in any way show up in a show, the show's like, okay, well, we have to focus on their oppression. We have to focus on the hardship. And like, I am queer. There is hardship in the world, of course. But also, I don't want every media about queerness to be like, it's just about the despair. I'm like, we got a brunch.
We got hollandaise sauce.
Right.
We have friends.
Right.
We are existing in
Right.
peace.
You know what? I go
Exactly.
to work every day.
Yeah. It's
Then
nice
I go
to just-
home and I make my coffee the next day, set it up so the time I'll go. I mean, normal everyday stuff. I do laundry. I do dishes. I cook dinner.
Yeah.
Like other people.
but it's wonderful in the show because they just are like, yes, this is here, and also it's not about that. They're gonna live lives, and they're gonna live lives like everybody else in the show. And
Yeah.
it's like you get queer joy, but you also get queer boredom, queer frustration, queer yeah. It's just
Like human
it's
experience.
wonderful. It's
Queer day-to-day life.
it's really handled beautifully, I think.
And they
I
never
think so
talk-
too.
Yeah, because they never have to talk about what laundry soap do you use to make sure your rainbows don't run.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
just
we
kind
have
of there.
5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes? Okay, great.
So yeah.
So before we say goodnight and send you all on your way to grand adventure
And food.
and food,
Day and food.
do you have any questions for us?
I think you explained things a lot better. I'm actually going to be bugging Margie so I can borrow the Netflix.
Yeah.
Sweet. I hope you like it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, Mr. Springer.
Sorry I was late. I might have missed it, but do you have a favorite episode?
Oh my
Ooh.
God.
Oh,
That
that's
episode. Holy shit, man.
No, I like all of them.
Good answer.
I love them all, but one that does stand out for me is there's this one where I don't remember why it has to be them, but Winona and Nicole have to go around questioning people to try to figure something out. And the two of them together are hilarious.
Oh my god. No, that's true.
And again, it is because Nicole is that very like cool, confident, by the book, and Winona's
Lawful good.
lawful good, chaotic good.
Yeah.
100%.
It's just great.
I'm good.
Yeah, I don't
Pick a favorite. And part of it is because I've watched this show multiple times now, and so like to a degree, some of the episodes kind of run together because it is.
It's a story.
It's a story. There's an arc. There's a little bit of Monster of the Week, but mostly it's a little bit like later Supernatural, where like yes, you'll have a new villain every week, but also the story's continuing.
Yeah.
I don't know. We didn't talk about Bobo.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
There were like a couple of episodes where Bobo was like, he's a bad guy. Although I am wearing my Bobo coat. Honestly, it's a little cold here. And I'm like, I'll just put on my Bobo coat. But right, like especially the more we got to know about him, and so there are just like a couple of episodes with him where I'm like, Bobo, you could be good. You could do better, Bobo. And then he doesn't.
And I think he really did care for Winona's sister.
I think he loved
Yeah.
Waverly too, as appropriately as an uncle,
Yeah.
not in a
Not a creepy weird.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a demon, so it's not good, but not like
Not gross.
yeah, right, yeah.
Now we're Jim.
So anyway,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Thank you. ladies.
please watch
Thank you.
Winona Earp because we
We can
want
nerd out anytime.
we want more of it, and so we need you to convert, so
Yeah.
we can put more pressure on them to do.
So am
more
I hearing?
Join us.
stuff. Yes.
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 We're not a cult, we're a culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Have you listened to the new audiobook? that just
Not
came
yet.
out?
Not
No.
yet, because I've
I
been
need to-
binging other things.
I need to restart my Audible so I can use that credit on that.
Yes. 100%.
There you go.
Oh, also, I don't know about you, but I've been getting ready for things like TesCon,
Yeah.
and also playing Dragon Age. So, anyway, but it's been wonderful. Thank you guys so much. What a treat.
Thank you both for doing this with
This
me.
is an excellent
Yes.
Thank
Oh
you.
my God.
Yay.
So, for anyone who came in late, the panel has been streamed to my YouTube channel. It will be archived there, so you can watch it later at your convenience. Or if you're just like, that was a really fun panel, you should like, subscribe, and watch my channel. And I'm Madam Askew. It is very easy to find me everywhere because I'm lazy and everything is landed as Madam Askew. So, anyway,
And,
I think that's it.
Makes it much easier to stalk
Yeah.
you.
and if you want to come see us again tomorrow, we are going to be talking about Doctor Who.
Yes.
I don't remember what time anymore,
I don't either.
but we're talking about Doctor Who,
11
and,
o'clock.
and the panel is called "He's the Doctor, Baby."
Yeah.
Mostly
I'm going to look for that.
It'll be
Yeah.
such a good time. And we're also having a panel about romance.
At
It'll be really
2
good.
o'clock tomorrow.
Yes,
Yeah.
There's a romance panel at 9 a.m. about romantasy. There's the Doctor Who at 11, and there is the A Beginner's Guide. And what if you're a skeptic about romance at 2?
We will convert you. Yeah.
Okay.
To another
Like
cultural
Dr.
experience.
Who, next year, we have pitched an idea of bed, wed, dead. Basically, fuck, marry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Those are Doctor editions.
So since there's 15 doctors,
Joe's
we're going to do
already
a bed, wed,
doing this.
bed, dead version of the doctors. Which doctors would you do those things with?
We add
Oh,
companions too.
Yes, most definitely. We will add companions. And,
All right, because Joe's on my list.
Yeah. So we have pitched it to Joe earlier today, so I think it's going to be a thing next year.
He saw me and told me about it, and I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds great.
Okay.
So please stay for the next
Yeah,
panel.
definitely.
And then it'll be
And we're
awesome
going
if
to
we
get
can
out
do
of your
some-
hair.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. I'll get it.
All right.
I'll take care of it.
On paper?
Yes.
Yes.
There's an X in this corner of the screen.